If your goal is to help your athlete maximize their athletic potential, early specialization may not be the best path to achieve this goal. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly why. In this episode, we're talking about the multi-sport athlete, why it's important, and exactly how to make it work in youth sports today. Real stories, real insight, real talk about what it takes to reach the next level. This is the Next Level Athletes Podcast with Nate Daniels. I'm Coach Nate Daniels. Today, we're breaking down why being a multi-sport athlete is one of the most important decisions you can make for your child's athletic future, and more importantly, how to protect that youth athlete in today's environment. I've trained athletes for over 20 years, preparing them for competition, and I know from working with coaches at all levels of competition, they're looking for players with high levels of athleticism, the ability to move, adapt, and compete in multiple situations. And the majority of those athletes played more than one sport growing up. The majority of the athletic community agrees on this: coaches, trainers, professional athletes. Their advice: be a multi-sport athlete for as long as possible. But here's the problem. Youth sports culture is sending parents a completely different message. Year-round travel programs, 12-month club commitments, a culture that makes families feel like they are always falling behind. Parents are getting mixed messages, and families are stuck in the middle trying to figure it out. And that's the exact purpose of this episode, is how to help you navigate to keep your athlete a multi-sport athlete for as long as possible. But before we get into how to navigate this, I want to make sure you understand what actually is at stake. Here are 4 reasons why being a multi-sport athlete matters. Number 1, it creates a complete competitor. In my opinion, youth athletes who play multiple sports are developed into more complete competitors. Here's why. They learn how to win in multiple environments under different circumstances, different dynamics, different roles. In one sport, your athlete may be the star. In another sport, they may be a role player. These differing roles teach them how to compete no matter what the circumstances are. When an athlete is not competing in their premier sport, oftentimes they are able to take on roles. And being in those roles will make them understand all of the dynamics of a team. And also, when they move on to higher levels, there may be time during that transition where they don't have a predominant role on the team and they will need to pull on that experience. Number 2, it builds transferable skills. Multi-sport athletes take what they've learned in one sport and they bring it to the other. And those transferable skills can be athletic, like hand-eye coordination, fine motor skills, and spatial awareness. Or they can help develop mental attributes such as mindset, competitiveness, or how to handle adversity. Some of the greatest athletes who's ever lived did it across multiple sports. LeBron James was an all-state football player. Odell Beckham Jr. was an accomplished soccer player. The skills they built in those other sports, they were able to take to their primary sport and help them to dominate. Number 3, it prevents burnout. 70% of youth athletes quit their respective sport by age 13. Now, there's a variety of reasons that play into that number, but one of the biggest reasons is it stops being fun and kids get burnout. With the professionalism of youth sports and this cyclical cycle of training all year round is extremely demanding, and those demands can wear on an athlete's mental health. As adults, it is our job to protect them and to make sure that we're pacing them throughout a year to avoid burnout. Being a multi-sport athlete can really give an athlete a competitive advantage and a reprieve from their primary sport. So when they come back to their primary sport, they are motivated and ready to take on all the demands and challenges that their sport brings. Number 4, it protects the body. Repetitive motion injuries are injuries that come from overuse of ligaments, joints, and various other body parts. Athletes who specialize too early are especially susceptible to these because they never take a break from that exact motion that's stressing their body. They repeat the same movements over and over again yearly without taking breaks, and that puts an extraordinary amount of pressure on their young developing bodies. The demand of the same sport and same motion over and over when you're still growing can be extremely detrimental. Being a multi-sport athlete helps to prevent these overuse injuries because switching from sport to sport allows downtime on those repetitive motions. Even if the secondary sport is physical, it will still give your athlete a chance to recover while they stay active and competitive. Protecting your athlete's body now is protecting their ability to compete later. The case for multi-sport athlete is clear. The biggest challenge that most families face isn't agreeing that multi-sports matter. It's figuring out how to make it work. First, You have to be okay with missing things, as it's not going to impact your athlete's future. This is the mindset shift most parents need first. When your athlete is playing two sports or multiple sports, there will be conflicts. There will be overlapping. A baseball tournament at the same time or same weekend as a football game. A basketball practice will overlap a soccer tryout. And the anxiety around missing something, around falling behind, losing a spot, or letting a coach down is real. But I need you to understand this. Missing a practice or a game at the youth level is not going to derail your athlete's future. What will derail it is burning them out, specializing too early, or the fear of missing out leads you to make decisions that are hasty. Give yourself permission to miss things. My advice for any young athlete 4 to 10 years old, play as many sports as possible, as often as possible. When you get to middle school years, then some decisions have to be made. You'll probably need a primary sport, but still play multiple sports. But whenever there's a conflict, you defer to that primary sport. When seasons overlap, and they will, you will need a framework or a process for making those tough calls. The way to do that is to identify that primary sport that your child really loves. For example, if your son is committed to a travel baseball team and that's his primary sport, and he also wants to play flag football, baseball is the primary. That means when there's a conflict and there's a decision that needs to be made between baseball and football, you would go with the baseball tournament or baseball game. You would miss the flag football game or flag football practice, and that's okay. The goal isn't to be all in on everything simultaneously. The goal is to keep him a multi-sport athlete for as long as possible. Protect the off-season. Every sport must have one. No matter what the travel program is saying or telling you, there is an off-season and it matters. The pressure to stay year-round is coming from the business side of youth sports, not the actual science behind youth development. Use that time for a different sport, for recovery, for letting your athlete fall back and recalibrate. The families who protect the offseason aren't falling behind. They're setting their athlete up to come back hungrier, healthier, and ready to go. This is real talk from the sidelines, real questions from real sports parents. If you want your question answered, send a voice note, link in the show notes. This week's question comes from Brad in Florida.
Hi, Coach Daniels. My name is Brad, and I'm calling in from Florida. My son is 11 years old and has been a multi-sport athlete his whole life, playing both travel basketball and travel baseball. He loves both sports equally, and I'm proud of the time and hard work he's put in. But middle school is right around the corner. I want to make sure I'm setting him up for success in high school. I'm starting to wonder if there comes a point where he needs to pick a single sport. Is 11 or 12 too early to make that call, or is this actually the right time to start thinking about making a choice? Appreciate you. Thanks.
That's a great question, Brad. And so many parents struggle with this decision. There's a kid that likes a sport, multiple sports, and they're actually good at multiple sports. So how do you navigate this? My suggestion is before middle school, I would just play as many sports as possible. Your young man is moving into middle school. That is time, in my opinion, to pick a primary sport. Now, I said primary sport. That doesn't mean they're not playing another sport, but that primary sport is the sport that you are going to give the attention to. And when there's conflicts, you will side and make decisions, keeping that primary sport as a priority. If you play basketball and baseball and you pick basketball as the primary sport, there are going to be some overlapping and some conflicts. You need to make sure that whatever that primary sport is, whenever there's a conflict, you side with that primary sport. Now, it'll give your young man a chance to get a reprieve and keep them fresh so when they do come back to that primary sport, they're ready to go and they're hungry. I hope that helps. If you want to know what it actually takes for your athlete to succeed at the next level, I put together a free training video on the Next Level Athlete Success Formula. In this free training, I'm sharing the proven formula behind what it actually takes to separate average athletes from elite performers. It's the roadmap every athlete needs to stand out and level up. If your athlete has big goals, this is where you start. Access the training for free at the link in the show notes. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. The sports world is not going to slow down and ask you what's best for your athlete. That's our job as parents. Keep your athlete in multiple sports for as long as you can. Protect the offseason, protect the love of the game, protect their bodies. That is not holding them back. It's building the foundation for everything that will follow. Sports parents, make sure you subscribe and leave a review on your favorite platform. Every review helps more families find the show. I'm Coach Nate Daniels. This is Next Level Athletes. I'll see you on the next one. Welcome to the next level.